whatever verbosity affected me with the rules is affecting me with the play. Anyway, we'll get it moving quicker soon. I just seem to be in a very strange mood here. But I'm starting off with the Union playing this card. I think it's the better card for me to play at this point out of what I've got. I've got to launch an attack in the east, and I'm going to cross the river and try to hit Johnston here. I could slide down here, but this red line is to divide the north and south. It's not any indication of anything special. Now, the problem is, no, I don't want to do that. I want to move here because I know the Confederates have this steal a march. That doesn't really matter. I don't know what matters. See, steal a march isn't well defined here either. It says what the battle hex is. I guess I'll look up and see if there's anything there. The attacker places the battle marker, the battle beam. Yeah, that doesn't really help. The definition, this is actually called out in the rules. It doesn't really help in terms of explaining what the effect is in terms of, you know, if that steal a march is done when I move into here, does that mean essentially the attack is coming from Washington and I'm here? There doesn't seem to be any indication of that in either the description of the card or in the using the battle marker effect. Terrain effects, well, they're going to be the terrain in the combat. So maybe if this was mountain or something, I would get a defensive bonus from that. I think I'll kind of get a defensive bonus. No, because he's not actually attacking. See, he's not attacking from here into here. He's attacking from here into here, but this is the battle hex. And, you know, like so many things in this game, it just is not gelling in my brain what the hell the designer meant by it. Well, I was all excited thinking I'd come in and play another card. You know, I'm waiting for something to happen on my computer, and I'm like, well, I can get my gumption up and start working. And again, I come up against something, and I'm just going to put this damn card back, and I'll go back to whatever I was doing, and maybe come back to this game. But I'm having a hell of a time dealing with it. The only thing I can find that'll help me, although the attacking force does not physically move into the hex in which it's attacking, all combat is presumed to take place within the defender's hex. If it must retreat, the attacking force does not actually move, but instead remains in the hex from which it attacked. I think if there was mountain or something like that, I could get it, but I don't see where I could get the river from that. So, indeed, I'm going to play this as I did and move in here. Now, and launch my attack on Richmond. Now, I don't want to play this card, even though I'd love to get a chance to get rid of the sedition card, but now that I've played one, I'm less likely to be able to. So, I'll just take the attack, I guess. And at this point, I can see I'm running real low on points. I gotta be careful now. I have a lot in the bank here. So I think I can commit my entire point value there. For the Union, they have a lot of CSP points, and they also have some PC points built up. Another thing that's of interest here, or that I'm unsure of, and isn't really covered in the rules, there is that Virginia bonus, if I can find it. Eastern Theater penalty. The Union gets rewards. Now, I hope they get them at the moment, but that's not specified. It's covered in this Eastern Theater penalty, which takes effect at the end of the turn if you didn't go in there. If you didn't move into Virginia or activate there, you'd lose 2 PCs. Well, I get a reward for an attack, but it's got to come right now, because if it doesn't come now, I ain't gonna remember it, unless there's some marker to track that. And since there isn't, and there doesn't seem to be any specification that it happens later, I'm gonna play it now. But again, who knows what the designer really meant? I find it easy to assume and guesstimate what a design's intention is when it fits closer to certain standards in the industry. This game, like many CDGs, almost undermines that. Okay, just assume you understand what's going on, etc. So it's almost this, the standard for CDGs seems to be, it has to be absolutely ironclad written down in the rule books. Now, I don't like that standard, but given how they jump all over the place in terms of what they're doing, it feels necessary. Anyway, I'll pick my battles and come. I reveal my card choices. I want to talk a little bit about the points. Now, for the Confederates, they have very few CSPs left. However, this is Richmond, so there was a certain, I'm almost interested in throwing all my CSPs in this, but then there's the, I can't let these get down to 0 at the end of the turn. And although I can hold on to Jackson till the end of the turn and play him last, kind of, that can kind of assure me that I'm not going to lose the game just because I'm going second. For the Union side, their feeling is actually, geez, I don't have a lot of cards left after what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get a random card, though, so it's not a pure, hey, I might as well spend all 5 points because I'm probably not going to be launching any other battles. So there's a little bit of tweaking in there, but we'll see what we get. For the Confederates, they spent 1, and I'll mark that off. And for the Union, they spent 4 in their Peculiar General card. And I'll mark that 4 off, bringing them down to 2. Okay, the Peculiar General, my gunboats, my other cup I'm using for I use it as part of my counter clipping mechanism. Now, I have to choose a general that I play this on, and I am going to choose, well, it has to be the CO. So that's going to be Johnston, and we'll get some little quirk about him. I could have chosen my own general. What did we get? We got Political Poison. Okay, that's not going to affect this battle. Shit. Not going to affect this battle, but it's listed, I think, in here. Promotion costs for him are going to be doubled. So, and to me, this is one of the more interesting factors in the game, this particular expansion or option. It means even if I do well, it's going to cause some problems. But let's keep going here. So that didn't really do me a lot of good, but I got to keep the card in my hand or up here because I got to remember to take a new card from that. Let's look at our points. Johnston here has, he's on defense, 2, 4, 8. And Richmond gives him an additional 3. That gives him 11. I'm up to 12. And McDowell, our great commander, is at 4. Damn good. That's not a bad... Oh, well, he's level 3. 6, yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 15 to 12. That's a 3-point difference. There's nothing funky to roll or anything there, so... I guess we flip through the rules because... I think I trust the card, but I didn't a little while ago. Alright, we're easier using the card. I'm worried my rulebook's going to fall apart since it's got a crap staple job after I had to rip it open. Alright, so we're talking about a 3-point victory for the Union. That means 2 ITs go here to this force. And with the political general, it starts to get a little crowded, or with the peculiar general, it starts to get a little crowded on the thing. They have to retreat a loss, and they might lose the city. And they're going to draw a card for general command. I'm going to probably force a siege of Richmond here. Now, to the Union, they're going to take 1 IT. And they gain PC. This is the GIC that they just hit. He's going to be rank 3. So I just gained 3 political points, which is huge. And if I took the city, I would get more points. However, we got to look up to see how a siege works again. I can remember the rule, but I can't remember how it all works. And, you know, that's pretty standard for me. Of course, I can't remember where to find it. I know it's not this far in. There we go. It's sort of tucked at the bottom of the page. I usually can't remember things like that as easily. All right, so this is a minor. If it's a 2 to 4 point victory... Oh, this is not what I'm looking up. The winner gains PC equal to the number... Yeah. He also gains... All right. But let's go back to finding sieges, which is somewhere. We'll just keep flipping through the rules. Maybe we'll see it eventually. Maybe you see it and I don't. I wouldn't imagine that it's before combat, but who knows? Yeah, I ain't seeing it. Well, I know there are siege rules. I remember talking about them yesterday. Maybe it's under retreat. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's under vacant and undefended cities. Maybe it's not. Here it is, accepting siege. I can refuse to retreat. If I remain, I take an additional IT and 1 for each time that the attacker is activated. He doesn't have to actually attack me. The besieging force goes on top, and I can only remove them from a card played for PC. Only 1 per turn, or per card. All sieges, and none this year, all sieges must be lifted at the end of operations. So, I'm going to be doing this now. I have to worry about the hopeless defense, where I have to abandon the city if I exceed double the total defensive capability. So this goes up to a 3, and the Union Army chunks in. And now we have other checks to make because of the victory here, which is going to be just a general casualty. No chance of a disaster on this victory. It's too minor. Okay. So we'll check for the Confederates and for the Union. The Union's going to get a replacement card for that peculiar general that they played. They get a lot of points. That's a nice card. I hope I'm putting them in the right pile. Confederate resource. Confederate points must be this pile. All scrambled in order. Union points are that pile. Okay, so these are now on top or something. Oh, no, he's not my level 3. He's a level 2. Johnson's my level 3. So that's 1 less PC. But now we flip back to the bonuses that I get. The bonuses that I get for my Virginia campaign, if I can find that. Okay. I did an attack. I moved adjacent to Richmond, so I'm going to get 2 extra PC for that. So that's all nice banked value there. Now on the Confederate side, they have to do something to try to break that siege. And the problem is, the rules are a little ambiguous on whether or not I can move Jackson 2 spaces and pick up AP Hill. Now I have a card that allows me to march Hill into the combat as well. But yeah, that's, you know, remember there's one place where it says that it can happen and one where it seems to imply that it can't, or maybe the other way around. And I'm going to have to find that rule and go over it again in my head to see which way I think makes the most sense. But it's pretty clear to me the Confederates need to lift that siege. Maybe. Maybe not, because the Union's got to withdraw from the siege at the end of the campaign season. The rule I'm worried about. A general or CO who enters a hex containing another general or CO of equal or greater rank must end his move in the hex. This represents a pause required to sort out command and strategy. Nowhere, though, does it say that he can pick up the force. And elsewhere, under the GIC, I think... I don't know. Somewhere else it makes it sound like you just you get hurt no matter you stop no matter what. The CO is the top general. He must be the highest ranking. No, that's not it. Somewhere I had something that seems a little different from that, which seems to indicate no matter what you stop. I thought it was under a GIC command rules, but I don't remember where the hell it is. But you know what? I'm going to go by this one, as written, which seems to indicate you can't pick them up, because I don't believe you can do that unless you're the GIC. But you also aren't stopped. Now that's not a huge deal. Let me look at this. Mountain. May only give the combat value. See, it's weird. Here they say every hex regardless is 1 movement point, but elsewhere they don't give movement points for hexes. It just really feels like somebody didn't put the work in needed to produce a final game. And I cannot help but think that MMP, with its normal production delays, faces this kind of thing and says, okay, well, we'll schedule a different game in. We'll give you the time you need to develop it, but with this stupid Kickstarter thing in play, it just forced a half-developed game into production. Because the designer, he's a little fuzzy in hearts and minds, but I think everything kind of made sense. And Philip's War was weird, but I think everything was kind of there. This one is jumbled, but it's been through many revisions from what I understand. Which, the videos that are there before may not reflect the current game anymore. So I don't know what the hell I'm looking for anymore even. This is what went wrong, isn't it? I'm sorting through the rules trying to figure out what the hell they're trying to say everywhere. Yeah, I feel like I gotta reread the rules yet again. This will be about the 5th or 6th time in this one turn that I've had to scan through the entire rules. Not all on video. Not anywhere near. Trying to find something. And I hate doing that. I really do. And these, with their images, make it more difficult for me. So now here we go. Any general, it was right in front of me, but all these pictures, they distract me from reading the words. Any general who moves into a hex occupied by a CO of equal or greater rank. Look at this. Look at my rule book. Destroyed because it's upside down. one page. A general enters a hex of a general of CO or lesser rank. The moving general becomes the CO, and the stationary general his subordinate. That sounds like you pick them up. Elsewhere, there's something that I think, though, completely negates that, and I'll keep looking for that, because I know it's in here. This is just, I'm continuing this job of reading the rules and reading the rules and reading the rules and never getting to actually play the game, because every action I take, I have to read the whole goddamn rule book. Reminds me of Triumph of Chaos on that. Another Chaos CDG. This one's pretty clear. Whenever a CO moves into a hex containing a CO of equal or greater rank, he must stop and become a subordinate. He may pass through a friendly occupied hex, but may only pick up a force in that hex and continue moving if the CO entering the hex outranks the CO of the previously occupied hex. This all sounds pretty clear. I'm sure there's something that's a complete contradiction of all of this, but so much of this is going in one direction that I'm going to go with it. Oh, no, I started trying to find out how much a mountain costs to move. That's not what I was looking for, shit. But I got confused again. When you have like a whole stack of things you have questions about, it's really hard not to go searching out the wrong question. So I'll go back to this question because, you know, yeah. So the deal there is movement of 2 hexes into or through mountain hexes. Yeah. Prevents attacks. Major armies may not enter mountains. A force may still move 1 hex and attack in a mountain hex. I think what that means is if I move through one of these mountain hexes, say to pick these guys up, I'm going to take the disadvantage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be moving Jackson and then use my reinforcement card to bring Hill into play on that attack. And that was fun, figuring out all the rules that I needed to get that to work. Union has peeked at the Confederates card, so he has a pretty good idea that he knows what's happening. The play of the Ewell card was just enough to move Jackson into place. Jackson can command all this, I hope. It's 4, so yes. And so we committed 2 CSPs to the battle, which drains ours. And the Confederates also committed their maximum of 2, which drains them. But they have this card that allows them to reinforce it into the battle. And now we have a fight. And I don't think it's going to go too well for the Union. Okay. So, as far as I know, these can't be involved. So what we have is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 defensive strength. Did I take too many people? Why do I have 4 people here? 2, 3. Oh shit, I couldn't cross the river and attack the way I did. Because I had an army. Son of a bitch. I thought I had just a 6-point force here. Oh well, we'll leave that alone. So, I've got 11 strength points and I'm facing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. So the Confederates are up 3 right now. These match me. It looks like it's an up 3, but I forgot to take this into account, so it's an up 4. So we hit McDowell pretty hard. Let's look at the results. It's just going to be a major victory, so McDowell takes 2 hits on here. And Jackson's going to take 1. McDowell is going to have to retreat, and we have a required advance here, right? Yeah, that's not listed, is it? If we don't take an advance, we're going to get hit with an extra IT, but I've got to look that up because that's not on the player aid card, of course. Maybe it's in the rules that the player aid card come from, or maybe it's buried in some other rules. That's so like this game. I think I'm just tired of CDGs. They just are not doing it anymore for me. Let's flip through this glossy rule book and keep looking to see if we can find the damn rule. You know, it's always in this place that's hidden from me. Down in a corner, I think. We'll just keep flipping through it until we see it, because all we see is these pretty pictures, so we never see the text, which is what sticks in your head. There we go. Okay, let's see if it's different here. The winner must advance at least one general to claim the city's supply points. Wait, is that only if there's a city? Again, another ambiguity to my mind there. See, this says the winner must advance into the vacant hex. This one only says the winner has to advance if it's a supply city. Or it seems to imply that, and who the hell knows. 3, 4, I've got 6 here. Oh, what the hell am I doing? So we did the withdrawal. We're trying to figure out if there's got to be an advance. And then we have to figure out what happens if these come in. I think they consolidate because this is not a GIC, and it's not fresh troops on either side. So I don't know if we have to advance in this condition, but I think we want to. So we'll push them in, but I have to do my death checks. No? Yes, we have a potential death there. So we have to kill someone. And now we look for that roll. All right, so we're gonna get what? Odd, it's the opponent's choice. Even the Union gets to choose someone. Now here's the problem. If I kill the GIC, I have to replace him with another GIC. Do I have someone I'd like to kill? Burnsides isn't that good. Wallace isn't that good. Reno, surprisingly, is not very good at 2 stars. Do these guys have 3 stars? Reno looks pretty piss poor. Well, I'll come back because I'm just doing these continuously on video, and that's part of the problem here. You're seeing how I cope with a troublesome rule set, which is not a lot of fun. Reno looks like the crappiest of the bunch. I don't even know. Why did I expand him to a 2 star? Why do I have 7 strength points here? Yeah, I'm not sure why I advanced Reno at all. He's kind of crappy. Okay. Well, we roll a die for that. And what, a 1 through 4, it's just a wound. Okay, so he gets this marker, which indicates that he has a +1 to his initiative and -1 to his combat abilities, which means he's kind of shittier than he was. Okay. Now, I have to remember all kinds of things here, which are going to be hard, as to, hey, who won battles, who lost battles, because that all affects the costs of promotion and demotion next turn. That's kind of a pain in the ass about the whole thing. The Union cards go back somewhere. I don't know where. I flip these, not those. I flip these. and the Confederate card, and I flip these and put that there. This gets discarded and a new Confederate card comes in, and I get a Peculiar General. Joy. Okay, that was the Confederate attack. I guess I'm all clustered in one big ass stack here now at Richmond. I think I still have a capability to attack something. When you have enough IT, your ability to activate becomes more expensive. So let's see if we can find that roll. We have IT effects. If the general has more IT than his star rank, he's going to cost an extra PC to activate. So I probably don't want to keep fighting up here in the Richmond area. And that's going to be on to the Union turn. And I need a break. Okay, so the Union launches another attack using Pinkerton. That gets them a PC with Lion. And we're just going to attack Price again. We know what the numbers are. They come to 2. We don't think there are going to be many combat cards. Now, neither player has any CSPs in place. So, as far as we're concerned, we get a guaranteed minor victory out of this. We got to take that. That'll generate some more PCs out of us. We know what the numbers are. I'm not going to play the CSP cards in here. Both players will just have to play 0 because they're out. But I did choose these. He played a 0 resource card, so we can throw that back out. But he played a Peculiar General, which he's going to hit Lion with. Lion's someone you would really like the political poison on. But instead, we got Stonewall. Wonder what that does. Well, these are over here. And whatever you do in most games, in this game, well, you spend a lot of time looking things up. In the case of these Peculiar General, that makes sense. You know, they're an expansion. That's going to give him a +2 to his defense. That's not something we wanted to hand to someone. Of course, that makes Peculiar Generals in the future to be more likely to be played against people. Okay, so our attack, as we said, is going to be a +2. Do we want to give up Springfield? Well, yeah, I don't think so. The reason we don't want to is we'd lose an extra political point for that. So in this case, and what's kind of funny here, defeat causes a gain and loss in PC, but only if there's a retreat. So I actually screwed up here. The Union should have less PCs. I cheated twice in their favor here because good old Johnson with 2 stars did not retreat. So I actually didn't gain those. So I'm going to drain them away, not to give them too much of an advantage. All right, yeah. And in this case, again, I'm not going to retreat. I'm going to take the extra hit. So I take 3 PCs. The Union takes 1. And they'll drop in to another siege situation. Not that it terribly helps me. Confederates are going to get a replacement card for this. Well, that looks like what I'm going to play right away. I get to dump my Seditious card away and draw a card to replace it. That, you know, kills that card, but that's cool. And now I get a decent card here. And, yeah, the Union knew about that Sedition card. They didn't know about the other one. And now we're back on the Union turn, and I got to think about what the hell they're going to do. Whoa, that's going to be blurry. A siege activation, if I do that with Lions, I'm going to be playing this Winfield Scott card. That'll get me, and I can't remove any of my IT. That'll get me, I think, 1 IT. I'm looking for that roll. I was in the midst of doing it and wanted to talk. But anyway, I think it creates 1 IT. But I don't think there's anything that says I can't march away and attack anyway. So that might make more sense. In particular, I can march down here to Neosho. Now, that's getting outside of the range of my supply, though, I fear. I think it's 2 hexes supply, but that gets me back to this river, and I can supply off that. So I'm going to look up a few rules and see what my options are. But I'm definitely going to be taking 5 PC here to bank them, and then do an activation of some sort with Lion. Continuing the siege doesn't make a lot of sense, but I can't launch a battle without moving, I don't believe. I don't know. One thing I could do is I could move through here and then up here and launch an attack. That would be legitimate no matter what. This would be legitimate. The only problem is the potential of my supply being cut. Can't just walk into that city. It's got a garrison. It's got a defensive value of 0, but I have to fight that defensive value of 0. It's not like these cities up here, which I can just walk into to gain control of. So I forgot to flip. Let me do the casualty checks there. Just get some cards out of... Uh-oh. Got a potential casualty here on Price and McCulloch. Well, we have a guaranteed casualty going back in time. Who gets to get it on? It's the opponent, which would be Lions. Lions gets to choose who he wants to hit. He'll hit Pabst Price, I guess. Yeah, Price is the better person to hit. 4 through 6, it's just a wounded marker. Right? No, 5 or 6 he's killed. Okay, so what we're going to get there instead is an infantry TCO. I need a 2-star. I guess that's this. Yeah, this is a 2-star piece. In command. Price, I'll put him in the dead box with his 2 stars in place. And now the Confederates, I believe, have a chance to immediately promote him. Same rank. This is not obligatory. Well, I don't have someone with the same rank. So I'm left with that crappy TCO. Given that... What the hell did I do? I did that special card, which I didn't really need to do because I have the Jackson, but I'm not going to back up over that. I'm going to... I guess I'm vulnerable to what's going to be a possible attack against this, which will have a weaker leader in place. It doesn't really matter that it's my commanding officer. The only thing that matters about him is that he's not likely... oh, now there's this retreating. If you have no commanding officer, you have to retreat. You know what? Shit. See, the problem is that the Confederates would want to promote him. And can I do that? I can do that by absorbing TCO with McCulloch, who's sitting there. The problem with that is, and I'm not sure when that happens. It's a cost of 1 PC per star. When am I allowed to do this? Presumably during movement, which to me means that I would have to activate someone. Well, who do I activate? I don't know, because I can't activate the infantry because he's underneath the commanding officer, and it all becomes really confusing. I can activate, I guess, the TCO. That's going to cost me a pile of points. None of this is covered in the rules. None of it. You know, whatever you're doing in this game, if you're gonna be handling the situations as they come up, you're probably going to be making up rules throughout the game. That's hard to do in any game to some extent. If you have a real feel for what the design's all about and everything, it becomes a little easier. But in this one, damn man, these, as most CDGs, I feel like the design is this almost impenetrable clockwork. This one less than some of the others. I don't feel like there's as much design in place here. I feel like it was more, a bunch of arguing, perhaps just between the designer and himself about, well, this would be the better way to do this. But it's not expressed well in the rules at all, if at all. In this case, I cannot find anything about that, I don't believe. Anyway, I'll give it some more attempts at studying and figuring out what might be made there. Maybe I'll, do a little bit of meditation on the game or something. Because I don't think reading the rules is going to do it. My mistake here. It looks like there's only one time you can absorb TCOs, and that's at the end of the rail phase. I wonder if that's... Yeah. Alright, so that is very clearly handled. And yeah, I can't do a damn thing about it. So losing price is a major problem for me in the game. And now we go back to the other question on the stack, which I know is covered in the rules, which has to do with the supply source. But you can see how frustrating it is. And I had the same thing with Triumph of Chaos, whose rules were complete. But when you face me with a mishmash that I can't assimilate and consume and make sense out of, yeah, I walk away with the feeling that I'm looking at an incomplete game. And I think to some extent this is. I also think that there was not sufficient development work in trying to get a game that could be easily understood. There are a lot of people who are having trouble making sense out of this one. And then there are people who can figure it out. Or maybe they go and contact the developer and the designer and get all kind of questions answered. I don't know. I know there's a lot of discussion over on... in which the designer is involved heavily over on Consim World, and he's also trying to interject information over on BGG, just on errata. But, man, the thing should be clear to begin with. No? There's a question of whether or not I can take Springfield by siege, actually. I looked at the siege rules. I'm correct. You can move out and attack it. But if you don't move out, you can do the siege effect and just cause a free IT hit on it. Now, this command will... There's an advantage to battle, which is the TCO might well just retreat. Because there's no commanding officer there. But if I don't do battle, the force here has 0 from the city. McCulloch here is worth 2 on defense. This is worth at least 1 more, so I'm up to a 3 defense, plus a roll on the die. Now, in sieges, there's the hopeless defense. The defender must abandon the city, retreat if he can, or surrender if he cannot, if his accumulated IT is equal to or exceed double his total defense capability. Well, that's not going to be the case. But what if the number there was a 6 instead of a 3? I think that's only after battle, but I'm not sure. But if there's no battle, do I roll for the star before, I determine this, or do I make some assumption about it? I have no idea again. That one does not seem to be covered. Okay. But I think I have to do the battle. I banked the points. I'm going to move back a little towards St. Louis, and I'm going to attack again. Now, In doing so, the Confederates know they're going to lose. Now there's an option for attempting to retreat, and I'll come back after I figure that out. But if I don't do that, and I'm not sure of the timing of this, the TCO has a chance of just running off on its own. Now it turns out I have too much IT to retreat voluntarily. Part of the reason I can't stand and fight, right? Given that, I'm going to be dealing with this automatic retreat of the TCO counters under attack. But I have to pay a PC for each retreating star. Well, there's 2 or 3 stars here. I'm not sure. The TCO has 2, and the way this is all worded, I think it retreats and leaves McCulloch back there. Then there's the question of where the ITs end up. I think the TCO runs away with them. So here's what's going to happen, I guess, is this runs away. Oh, I don't know if I can draw supply here, or here for that matter, because I can trace 2 hexes. There's a river there, but I have to trace to a city with a river, according to the rules, I think. Let's go back to that, because I just read that. A forces supply begins in the hex it occupies and extends 2 hex from that hex to a hex with a friendly city and or rail river hex. Okay, good. So I could trace supply from either of those cities, which means a Trans-Mississippi campaign is actually possible. So this guy's going to retreat. Now I'm going to take... There's going to be some damage there. 1 PC... per retreating star. So I owe 2 PCs. Well, luckily for me, I have none. So, hey, no pain. I don't think my enemy gets any. No, that's not right. If the CO retreats, you get points for him, right? Something like that. Let's go back to the retreat rules, which are somewhere in here. I think it's hidden in voluntary withdrawal because that's where I remember reading it. I'm beginning to get it. The attempted withdrawal, whether it gives the attacker 1 PC per star of the defending CO, C19. Well, that ain't it. Yeah, okay. To determine where the withdrawing force retreats. Well, that's just an error, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the fact that in any retreat, you end up paying Now this talks about the limit. Somewhere I remember where it said... There's a lot of somewhere I remembers in this game because I've read the rules enough times that there are a lot of little pieces in my head, but they're just not sticking as any kind of coherent whole. Anyway, somewhere I remember it said that if you have to retreat, you always give PCs to the enemy. And here there's hints about it, but I can't find the actual rule, of course. It's not going to be under retreat path, I assume, but who knows. There's all kinds of weird stuff in weird places. You'd think it would be somewhere under retreat. There we go. His opponent also gains PC equal to the number of stars before demotion. That's retreating from a port, though, which seems not to be the... Jesus. This could all be written so much more clearly. You know what we forgot? We forgot about the seeing the elephant. All COs are indecisive in their attack and defensive role. Which makes absolutely no sense since this is like Lion's great day, right? He's got these fantastic stats, but he's going to be an indecisive general. Oh, well. Yeah, lots of special cases in here, too. Yeah. Oh, well. I don't know what the hell it is. I think the Union gains 2, and that's what I'm going to play, because you know what? It's not really worth looking up the rules in this game. It really isn't. So now my assumption here is that I'm going to be fighting this butthole here, McCulloch, with his 2 strength points. He can't get out of there, but now he can. And I can give another PC away by retreating with him. And we'll just say that I can do that too. Because like I said, you got to kind of make up the rules in this game. Or else it's going to drive you crazy trying to figure out what the hell is intended. Well, since I retreated, I'm allowed to capture the city. Right? I'm not sure. No, I think I have to attack this 0-point city. I don't know. That's how we'll do it. So we have a 1, 2. You know, like with Triumph of Chaos, I just got to make up the rules as I go. Maybe I'll find something I can enjoy out of it. 3, 4, 8. Yeah. Lion should be being rolled for here. I don't know. Should I start doing that now? What the hell? Let's start now. We roll over on this table. So instead of an 8, I'm actually 5 back. So I'm like a 3, I think. 1, 2, 3, yeah. And I'm facing a 0. So I'm going to be a +3. So that's going to be a major victory, or a minor victory against the town, which is going to cost me one of these. I do 2, which is more than the defense value of 0. I have to make a leader loss check. No. I go in, the garrison falls. I take another PC, and they lose another PC, and that's their turn. And I'm sticking with that as my story. I'm hoping to get the rest of this turn done by tonight. But, you know, I can't face it. I'll be back tomorrow for the rest of this damn. Confederates are going to play this Foot Calf card, which is actually a pretty damn good card. Not only is it a 6-point card, but if you want to activate a minor force, it gives you an extra movement point. And if you were activating anything with an initiative 2 or higher, you kind of get a bonus here. You're going to get 4 PCs to the track and that extra movement point. And you might actually get to activate something more cheaply than usual. I want to do that though because even though it's only a 1-point person, I want to move my Commander-in-Chief up here 3 hexes. And that gets me a little bit extra action. I may have some trouble here. I don't really want to go through Kentucky and hand the Union points because I can't launch an invasion of the North in this game. As in most ACW games, that's really not... There's a lot to dissuade you from doing that. But as long as I keep him as a minor army, I think I can cross the Mississippi. I'm going to have to check the GIC rules again. Like so many games, this is just covering everything in special cases here. Union, they're going to play the Stanton card. It's not going to create a big blow against the Confederates. They have to move a 2-star general nearest to, but not in Georgia, to Atlanta ordered. Decrease their PC by 2 within some random time limit not expressed on the card, or else it's an immediate teleportation, which makes little sense. I've been through this before. The Confederates are going to take the 2 PC loss because I can't figure out how you can possibly interpret that card. Yeah. But they're also not in a position where they could get any of their 2-star generals down there. And I don't want to teleport particularly, although I'm just disturbed by that card. And now we're on the final card, which is a Confederate card, this 4-pointer. Would I want to hold this? No. I get a promotion and 2 PCs, or I can grab 4 PCs. I feel like it's a choice of flexibilities. If I promote somebody to 2, I can then promote them to 3 in the next political phase. On the other hand, if I hold the points and just bank them, then I don't have to make the choice right now who's getting promoted to 2 PCs. So really the question is there anyone that I'd want to promote to 3 PCs out there? I don't think he gets to... I don't know if he has to... if he gets promoted, would that freely give him command of the stack? I don't think that's the case. But maybe it is. Let's look at those LOC things. And yep, I spend the whole game flipping through the rules through here. Okay, so if I promote, he's dropped to a subordinate. I think that's worth doing. Not for any real reason, but just because I'm going to want to do it. Because McCulloch can't take command of... He's not going to have a 3-star placement there. But I know that I want him up there. So I'll just take care of that now. And that actually gets us to the end of the operations phase. Thank God. And now we're going to the supply phase. Now, is anyone out of supply is the question. Over here, we're good. Over here, the Union can trace to the river here. The Confederates can trace down here. We're good in supply. I assume we're good all sitting on the rail net. Basically, yes, I'm taking some sort of shortcuts there. So this one I'm not so sure about. If this was an enemy-held city, I don't think I'd have supply here. But as it stands, it's just a neutral city, so I think I can chain to the Mississippi. And it's very easy when you start looking at the Mississippi. Look, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this one's not 2, 5, 6 points, 7, 8, and I don't have that big a stack. I have about 5 there. Over here, well, I'm going to have the rail net in the northeast to get to. So all these, you know, as long as all the supply sources are connected, right now that's okay. There's no rated city tokens. Okay, now we do IT casualties and remove the IT and wound markers. That's down here. For every 5 IT a force has, it's going to take a loss, and I don't think anything's that big. And that'll cause disgraces and all that. All wounds are removed from all generals, and all IT are removed except for forces that are out of supply. So basically, all this damage that happened did nothing but to play with the political track. And I mean, that may not seem like much, but the political track is really what the game is about, the PC markers. Remember, I mean, that's what you're trying to get down there to win. If you can get it so that, you know, you're forcing the other player to play first and you drive them down to 0 on your last card play, you have the capacity to win the game right off. Now, the Union could afford to play their last card because they have a lot of PCs in the bank. They've been victorious in this early stage of the war. I have a wound somewhere that gets removed. So the excellent General Reno gets upgraded. I find it strange that he's rated kind of poorly. He did pretty well, if I recall. Okay. And any CSP that we have banked would disappear at this point. You don't use your combat support, it's gone. Nobody won. And now the turn marker will move forward and we'll take care of reinforcements. And that is the end of the first turn. I'll be continuing. Hopefully I'll get away from going into so much detail because honestly, the detail in this game is looking up the rules continuously. There may come a time when I internalize them enough, probably incorrectly, because they are such a mess that I don't have to look them up. The player's aid will help with that, incorrectly internalizing the rules. All right, up this one goes.